folks, thanks for joining me today. Now, the stone that I'm using today is a stone that I casted from the molds I received from the Happy Dotting Company. This is mold number 3, so it's smaller than my normal rocks. And this one in particular that we're doing today is something that's special. This is Remembrance Day, so I thought let's do something to commemorate the wars that have been fought for our freedom and for the soldiers who had lost their lives so that we could do things like this today. So this is my Remembrance Day rock, and I gave it a primed coat of white, let that dry completely, and then I used my compass and I drew 2 circles. So one that I've just painted with a kind of a medium green color, I think it's holiday green, and then I paint the outside circle black. So I have this ring of white around it. Now, if you're as old as I am, you'll remember back in the good old days when tires were had really thick white walls. This is what this kind of reminds me of, but it does turn out to be really pretty. So I'm very impressed with this. And one thing that I remember about Remembrance Day is definitely the poppies. So the poem of the poppies grow between the rows. That one I've remembered since my childhood, so I wanted to do a poppy. So that's what I do in this video today. Um, Let me know about any stories or any veterans that uh, you want to be recognized. I mean, all of them are, in my opinion. My grandfather fought in the war, as well as my great grandfathers. So they're no longer with us, but I definitely am very thankful. And when they were alive, I did thank them for their services and giving me the freedom that I have today. So anyways, I got the black done and now I'm going to do the poppy. So I'm not being very particular with this because poppies aren't very symmetrical. So I use this bright red color and I put it on really thick. The reason being is because I was going to try, and I did try, um, putting this poppy orange in and giving it a little bit of shading. But I think because my red paint was so thick, it didn't work out the greatest. So what I ended up doing was letting it dry, and then I'd put this really pretty glitter red paint over top. So all of my paint colors that I do use are listed in the description below. So I include the name and like the brand name and the color name. So if you wanted to find the same paints that I'm using and create the same thing, that will give you a good head start. But I do suggest to use whatever you have in your stash. I mean, poppies vary in color, variations. There's red ones and orange ones. So just make it yours. Make it any way that you want to. I'm just here to give you some inspiration and maybe some direction or maybe learn a few tips or tricks along the way. So, anyways, I'm letting that poppy dry. It doesn't look so bad, but I really wanted to add some special uh, glitter to it just to make it really pop. So I'm putting the stem on. So on the bottom of the flower, there is a little, and I'm sorry, I'm not very familiar with the correct phrases, but I'm going to call it like um, the pod of the flower. And so I put that on the bottom of the flower and put on a stem. Now, poppies don't all bloom at the same time. So there's usually in a cluster of them, there's usually different stages of blooming. So that's what I wanted to capture here. So I'm just using the same green paint, and I am making a couple of pods that haven't opened yet. And well, one I'm going to make it's just starting to open, and then the other one's going to be completely closed. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm putting in three of them. And there's the one there that I'm putting in where it's just starting to pop open, just putting in a little bit of red. And then I'm mixing in some of the green just to darken up the red a bit because it's not completely come out of bloom yet, so it's still developing and still making it the color that it needs to be. So I'm just doing some touch ups there, and then I outline the green circle in gold paint. So it just frames it up very nicely and separates the actual painting from the rest of the rock. And that's why I do it. And it just adds that little extra. Um, Now, if you can't do that with a paintbrush, there's like a million different types of uh, paint pens that are out there. Now, that's something that I've kind of wanted to dip into. I do have black and white. I haven't really used them very much because I'm so used to using a paintbrush. And I know it sounds easier to use a paint pen than it is a paintbrush, but uh, that's just me, I guess. So in the center, poppies always have a black center. Sometimes it can be a dark green color, sometimes it's black, but that's basically where the seeds develop. And then once the leaves fall off, it ends up into like a pod with like a, almost like a mandala on the top of it, which is kind of neat. But what you can do with that pod once it's dried, you can actually shake those seeds out and plant them wherever, and they'll grow wherever you plant them. They're very hardy and one of my favorite flowers, anyways. I like the poppies. They don't bloom for a long time, but they they are very pretty. So now I'm just outlining everything in black, just to give it that little bit of separation, making it look pretty, and so that you can see the petals a little bit better, and just to make it stand out a bit more from the background. So I had mentioned earlier that I want to know from you who's someone special in your life that you want to be remembered on Remembrance Day. It could be somebody like a grandparent or a great grandparent, a father, but it could also be a son or a nephew or an uncle. Let me know in the comments below. I would love to see everybody's well wishes or people that they want to remember on this special day of Remembrance Day. So leave me a comment below. And while you're there, don't forget to give me the thumbs up. And if you're new, please subscribe and hit the bell, and that'll give you a notification every time that I post something new. I just want to say that in this day and age, we seem to forget about the reasons behind our freedoms. And so I really, really wanted to bring that message across, that this day of remembrance is specifically for the reason why we have our freedoms and our rights to our opinions and our human rights and our ability to choose. All of that stems from all of our ancestors that had fought in wars for us. So this really means a lot to me because even the simple things, if you think about it, the simple things really are important. And just the fact of a poppy, watching it grow and it die, and then the next year come back and do it all over again, it's the perfect symbol for the whole remembrance that things happen and then they perish, but there's always something else that comes out of it. So just remember that when you're doing your vow of silence today for Remembrance Day, um, and be very blessed and thankful that we have these freedoms that we have today. Anyways, so that's my message. You saw me put on the glitter paint on the center poppy only. I didn't touch the other ones. And now I'm using that poppy orange color and I'm writing least we forget because that is probably the most number one saying that I've seen everywhere on any kind of paraphernalia, like posters and things on Facebook, all of that kind of stuff. This is the saying that seems to be everywhere. So to break up that white, because I found that it is very, very white, I thought it would be a great place to put that message. And it just finishes it off so pretty. And because I used the poppy orange color, it brings that color back into the painting that I covered up when I put the glitter paint on the center poppy. So I thought about outlining it in black and I thought about outlining it in gold, and I decided against it because really you don't want this to be all that glitz and glamour. It's something that's very meaningful, and we have to remember that. So I do apologize for being so passionate about this, but it truly is the meaning to me. The reason why I get to live the way that I do today, the reason why I get to film these videos and post them for you to view is all about this day. So again, I'm sorry I'm so passionate. That's who I am. Anyway, so I continue on putting the letters on. I'm using a very long, thin brush to help me with the letters so that I get them just most of the parts even. So I don't have to go back and fix up and anything like that. So I use this brush to allow me to make the letters to be approximately the same size. Now you will see that I have written them on. I used my general charcoal pencil, but there's a new one and it's a gray, a dark gray color, which is amazing. So now I have a white one, a white charcoal pencil, and now I have a gray one so that I can do my sketches on white or light colors with the darker color or with the darker pencil, or I can do the white on the dark sides. So I was so excited to find this, and that's what I used on here. It erases so easy. You can use an eraser, you can use just a damp cloth, but it's amazing. So I found it at my local hardware store. I'm sure you can find it online as well. As I finish off with the lettering, I will do a gold line outside of the black there. While I do that, I want to take this opportunity to also thank all of the women that are in our armed forces, our Navy, all of that also fight for our rights. I feel horrible that I forgot to mention them in the beginning when I was talking about the others, but definitely women
As I've
play a
been
huge
editing
part
this,
in
I'm thinking
our
that maybe the
freedoms as well.
background should have been a
So,
lighter
a
green
big shout
than the
out to
green that I
all of the
chose.
men and all of the women
I didn't think
who
it was
give
going to
us our
dry as
freedom every
dark as
day.
it did. It's a new paint that I have, so I haven't really tested it out. But yeah, I'm thinking that I should have maybe tested it. It's a little bit dark, but once it's resined, it looks really pretty, and you'll see that at the end. I've got some still photos there at the end uh, from different angles, so you can really see the differences in it. But yeah, I think that I should have went with a lighter color. But hindsight, maybe next year or something different. It's what I love about art and painting is you're constantly learning and trying new things. So
Definitely, I think that I should have gone with a lighter color. Anyways, I really hope that you take some time out of your day today and remember those who fought for our freedoms and give thanks to a veteran if you see one. Tell them thank you. It would go a long way. So once I finish with my gold line, I give this a coat of resin and it's finished. So remember, folks, life is what you make it. So get creative.